So this is absolutely insane. Michael Keaton, who played Batman in the 1989 Batman film and 1992's Batman Returns, which are arguably the most iconic Batman films of all time, is going to be coming back as Batman for not just the Flash movie, but also appearing in other DC films going forward. And the reports are also stating that he'll be playing a Nick Fury type role, where he'll appear here or there as somewhat of a mentor to some of the characters going forward. So we got a bunch of information about the Flash movie, which is going to be based on Flashpoint. So this is just kind of going to be a quick video to break down a lot of that information. But there's also some talk that this Batman's protege is going to be Batgirl rather than one of the Robins. This is kind of interesting because this could suggest that the Batgirl film is still on DC's mind, because that film was shelved and seen to be cancelled years ago. Like, that was one of the first couple huge DC announcements we got. Remember, we had like a Deathstroke movie, a Nightwing movie, Justice League Dark movie, and 20 other movies. One of those movies was a Batgirl movie, but that Batgirl one seemed to be moving a little bit more than most of the others were, but then there was no talk on Batgirl. It seemed to just end up in development hell like most of the others. But this kind of implies that the Batgirl film is still on DC's mind, because that film was, shelved and cancelled years ago. But we've gotten a lot of information concerning this Flash movie, and also about Keaton's return. And most of it is coming from Twitter and a lot of the scoopers on there. But I do need to forewarn you that as I'm recording this still is yet to be confirmed by any of the bigger news sites, and even a lot of the information going around between the scoopers is kind of contradictory. Some people are saying one thing is happening while another is saying it isn't, so take all of this with a grain of salt. But the Flash movie is slated to come out on July 2nd, 2022, and hopefully it'll still make that release date, but we seem to be making the most progress we've been making on this Flash movie for a while, because as you probably know, that movie's been replaced directors 3-4 times. It's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, but it really seems that they're aiming for this 2022 release date. As you likely already know, and I've mentioned, it's based on the Flashpoint storyline, but we have gotten a brief, description or synopsis of what to expect in the film, and it goes as follows. So Barry Allen travels back in time to prevent his mother's death. However, he inadvertently creates another universe protected by Michael Keaton's Batman, now 30 years older. So it looks like the Flashpoint film will be more in line with, what the Flash TV show did back in Season 3, rather than the original comic and the original animated movie. By that saying, I mean it's going to be more small scale and less of the huge comic book sort of event that's a very much Justice League storyline rather than a straight up Flash storyline. But the original did focus on Barry saving his mother and creating a new timeline. The Flash TV show also did that, and Reverse Flash and then Barry going back in time and saving his mother is the one thing that's kind of universal in the Flashpoint storyline. It's that it's the crux of the storyline. It's something that you can't take out of the storyline. If you take that away from it, it's not Flashpoint anymore. But the comic book timeline, or the comic book version, when he created a new timeline, which was Flashpoint, that had Thomas Wayne as Batman. After Bruce dies, Martha Wayne becomes the Joker. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are in a war that is tearing the Earth apart, and Superman was captured by the US government as soon as he landed on Earth, and he was kept kind of underground away from sunlight for decades. But there are numerous other huge plot points or changes, but those are the biggest ones, and the ones that kind of do define that crossover. Like, a lot of people who aren't really into comics might not know what Flashpoint is, but if you mention Thomas Wayne Batman, they'll probably have an idea of what storyline you're talking about. But what I'm trying to get at here is that the DCEU's description makes this sound more small scale, more focused, and less huge like the original was. Like, as in, no Wonder Woman, Aquaman, or Superman, and Bruce Wayne is still Batman. But a lot of people, myself included, were really hoping that we'd see the return of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who played Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman, to play Thomas Wayne Batman in Flashpoint. And this is one of the things I mentioned that there are a lot of contradictions about. Like, DR Movie News and The Wrap both said that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is still rumoured to show up, but then Humberto Gonzalez just said no, that he's not involved, and that just Jeffrey Dean Morgan isn't involved at all. And then Jeremy Conrad also chimed in to say that it's been years since Jeffrey was involved, and that the last time he was in a draft, that draft also contained Jay Garrick, Dr. Light, Heatwave, and Captain Cold. That seems to be very much kind of like the animated movie rather than the comic, because the animated movie, I actually can't remember if this happens about. I think it is just in the animated movie though, but where the beginning of that has the Justice League take on the Flash Rogues. But I don't really know who to believe here. It should be said that the comrade has been wrong a lot when it comes to Marvel stuff, and he has a hard time admitting when he's wrong. Umberto is quite credible though, so maybe Jeffrey isn't involved. But DR Movie News and some others have also mentioned how this means that Batman and Batman Returns are canon to the DCEU, or they technically would exist in the same Earth or the same timeline now, and that the Keaton's Batman is just 30 years old. It's just Keaton's Batman 30 years on. But the way this was all originally presented makes me feel like this is just timey-wimey craziness, and he won't be the same character. It's more like using, I think they're called legacy characters, or legacy actors, where you bring an actor who played an old role back, but he technically isn't playing the same character. He's playing a new version of a character he already played. And I think that's what this is going to be. And there are more thoughts that he's straight up replacing Affleck, so this is essentially just an inspired recast, and he'll be the same character from Batman v Superman and whatever Justice League turns out to be canon. But speaking of Affleck, we also kind of found out that Snyder Cut's Justice League is Affleck's last outing as Batman, and that he will be done. It started seeing that with Snyder Cut getting released and all the interest in that, it meant that DC and WB had a renewed interest in what the early DCEU movies tried to do. And there was also rumours that Cavill was coming back as the Man of Steel. There was rumours that Superman will be back with Cavill playing him in things like Black Adam and many other upcoming DC movies. He might even get a Man of Steel 2. And then we also thought with all that maybe we'd see Ben back as well, but this doesn't seem likely. In terms of Robert Pattinson's Batman, that trilogy seems to be going to be a standalone or Elseworld story, or whatever you want to call it, kind of like Joker, where it's in another continuity or it's on another Earth. Kind of meh on this news, because the reason I was so excited for Reeves' trilogy was because it'd be the first time we'd have a solo Batman movie set inside a wider DC universe. But it looks like this is kind of just going to be like the Michael Keaton Batman movies, or like the Dark Knight trilogy, where it's just straight up a Batman story with character. At least we're getting new villains that we haven't seen in live action before, or we haven't seen in the movies before, I mean. But it seems it's going to be closer to what we've already seen rather than something new, I guess, which is a little bit disappointing. But all this news does make me wonder, though, did WB and DC have all of this in mind when they decided to stick Ezra's Flash inside Christ and Infinite Earths? Because, like, showing the two Flashes together aside, we also got the confirmation that Earth 89, which is the Michael Keaton Batman universe, is canon to the Arrowverse, or is in the Arrowverse multiverse, along with the DCEU. So it all kind of seems to be linked together somehow. Maybe this means that we'll get a scene between our Barry, or Grant Gustin's Barry, and movie Barry on the big screen. Maybe they'll even get Gustin to make another appearance that isn't the same as the Flash TV show one. Maybe this time it's Grant Gustin's Barry going to Ezra's Barry somewhere. That would all be absolutely phenomenal. But this is all crazy news. This definitely has me... I don't know if I am more interested in the Flashpoint movie now, because I was really excited for a straight-up Flashpoint adaptation with, like, Thomas Wayne Batman. And as cool as getting Michael Keaton back is, if that means we don't get Thomas Wayne Batman in live action, I don't know if it's something I'm more excited about now, or it's just kind of there. Like, obviously I'm still going to be there day one, I'm still going to watch it no matter what, but I just don't know if this is something I'm more interested in than what we would have already gotten. It's crazy nonetheless, though. Are you hyped for this? Are you excited for this? Are you excited to see Michael Keaton back as Batman, which, that guy's around in comic book movies all the time lately, which is great. But this was insane. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and all of that. I hope you have an awesome day.